Well, hello, Redeem Her Time community. I am excited for you guys to get to listen into what I know is going to be a really impactful conversation because the Lord allowed my path to cross with Nadine Mullings. I can't even remember the timeline right now as to how long it's been. And we kind of kept re-intersecting for a while. And now we've been working together for a while and, been doing some swaps and things like that between our podcasts. So you may have heard me mention her a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about the definition of a busyness owner. It was Nadine who I was referring to that sat in one of our CEO conversations and said, Lissa, I think I'm running a busyness. And that phrase just really stuck with me. And really, you guys have heard the fruit of that. So I'm ever thankful to Nadine for just, yeah, being real and being who God has made her to be and really being someone who speaks out not only what message he's given her, but also the message of Christ. So, Nadine, welcome. Before we jump into business things, let's just have fun on the personal side. Like, tell us, like, what are some of the things going on in life? What are you juggling in this season of life for you right now?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much, Lisa, for the opportunity to be on the podcast. I have to say, your podcast is one of the podcasts that I listen to on a consistent basis.
Mhm.
So I appreciate all the content, all the information, all the words of wisdom you're putting out there. And I'm just excited to be on this episode with you because this is one of my favorite
Yay.
podcasts.
And now this will be your best episode ever, right?
Yeah, right. But as far as what's going on and what I have juggling right now on the personal note is I'm recently engaged.
Yay.
So right now I'm planning a wedding and it's all the things, all the details. Anyone who's been involved in wedding planning knows it's a lot. It's a destination wedding, so I feel like there's
Oh.
less details, but more details,
Mhm.
travel plans. People are calling me, asking me what hotels they need to book. So yeah, I'm just knee deep in wedding planning right now. It's a summer destination wedding in Jamaica.
Mm.
So, yeah, so that's kind of what I've been juggling that and also my business.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about your business. Like what has God uniquely called you to do to serve others? And maybe kind of take us a little bit on the journey of how he brought you to where you are right now.
Absolutely. I'd love to. So I think my journey starts at a really young age. I remember at the age of around 8 or 9 when we play imaginary
Mm.
games, like we play imaginary doctor or imaginary teacher. And I always played imaginary businesswoman. I had no idea what that meant, but I was running a business at 8 years old, right? God just put that in my spirit to be a business owner. And again, I didn't know what entrepreneurship meant or even looked like, but it was what was in my spirit to play in these
Oh,
imaginary
interesting.
imaginary games. So fast forward several years later, I kind of just took the traditional path, right? I went to school, got an education. You know, you always hear that get a good job, get a steady paycheck. So even though I had that entrepreneurial spirit or dream, I kind of just took that traditional path. Graduated from college, got an MBA, and worked in the financial industry and financial institution for over 15 years. But back in 2011, when the economy was actually a little bit rocky in the US, my particular position at the financial institution was eliminated.
Hmm.
So I always find that that's always an opportunity for God to work, right? I think there's
Right.
actually a blessing in a layoff. So if anyone's experiencing that right now, you may be feeling a certain way, but trust me, it is a blessing. So I had an option. They told me at the time, they were like, we really like you. We want to keep you here in the organization, but you'd have to be in the mortgage department for half the salary you were making in marketing, but you can
Wow.
make commission, right? So you have the opportunity to build your salary back up to marketing, or you can take this nice severance package that we're going to give you. So I opted for the severance package and I used that as seed money. I really felt
Mm.
like it was God telling me to take a leap of faith. It's like, okay, you've had your time in corporate America. Let's go on the path that I really have for you, which is this entrepreneurial journey. So I used that severance package as seed money and officially started my business. I took a month off. I did a pause. I was like, okay, how am I going to? It was November 2011 to be exact, December 2011. I took a pause. I went on vacation, went to Dominican Republic, and figured how is my life going to look like in 2012. And
Right.
so officially started my business January 2012. So it's what last month would be 13 years.
Yes.
Wow. Since I took the leap of faith and started this marketing agency. And honestly, it's evolved a lot over the time since I started in 2012, but it has always been on my heart to help women.
Mm,
I feel that when a woman has a business that succeeds, it's a ripple effect. It's
mm,
not only a benefit to her family, it's a benefit to the community, to the country, to the world at large. So God always put helping women on my heart, and marketing has been my background. So women and marketing have been the main core things in my business, even though it's evolved over time. Included in that evolution is at one period, God told me the importance of combining faith and business.
mm.
Coming from a corporate background, faith and business is not what you talk about, especially when you're
Right.
dealing with people's money in a financial institution. You don't talk politics or religion. So I kind of had the mindset of like, as a business person, you don't talk about your faith or God or anything like
Mm,
that. But God dropped it in my spirit, I'd say 5 years into my business about you can. This is your business
mm.
and you can actually talk about it. And honestly, I feel business is a faith journey. And I was
Yes.
like, well, why are people not talking about this more? You don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You have to trust and believe that God is going to provide for you to pay your mortgage and all your bills every month. This is a faith journey. So why not talk about it? Be open about it. And I use a lot of spiritual practices. I pray, for my business. I
Mm,
pray over my business. And, I look at the stories in the Bible as examples of stories for business, right? So there were so many elements on my faith side that combined with my
mm,
business that God just really highlighted and illuminated it for me 5 years into it, the importance of combining and being open on my platform about faith and business. So that shifted my
mm,
business a lot. So that was one of the things that really evolved. Then I started combining faith and business and really talking about the importance of faith in business, what it looks like. And that really attracted women of faith. So not
mm,
just
mm,
women, but women
mhm,
of faith. And then recently, another evolution has been women of faith who have messages in the form of
mm.
books and podcasts. So as you can see, there's been a
Yeah.
thread, and that thread has
Yeah.
been women, but it
Right.
has evolved in how I serve them and what the messaging is over the 13 years now span of having my own business.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's a journey. And I love how you talked about, you described it a faith journey. I was literally having a conversation with my coach yesterday, and she often says, doing business is sanctifying work. So is parenting, so is marriage, as you're about to find out and already finding out, in the engagement season and the dating season and things like that. But it is sanctifying work because we can't control it all and we can't do it all and we can't plan it all and all of these things. And so it's like, it's this, as we talk about in the CEO book club, it's this getting out of our comfort zone and taking risks. But when we can trust the one who's already got it under control, then, we are not fearful of failure. We're just living, and working with him. And so I love how you brought those two things together and how it's evolved over time. Because I think you're right. I think this is so many of us, I bet so many women listening right now could, tell a similar version of their story where they
Mhm.
thought it was one thing and then it evolved, or there was kind of this like common thread that just kind of kept getting more and
Mhm.
more clear as they pulled on that. And, isn't that how God works? Like as we
Yes,
grow, as we learn more about who we are in Him, what He's called us to, and what those that we're called to serve need, like it just keeps getting clearer and clearer. And so I love
exactly.
that. And
Yeah.
I'm
And I love
guessing,
that you
go ahead.
I wanted to share quickly. I love that you use the word sanctification because someone
Mhm.
shared that with me recently and said marriage, people giving me advice or
Oh, I'm
resources,
sure.
tips, and things like that. So someone shared a post with me that says marriage is the most important or best form of sanctification, and it gave examples as to why it's a sanctification process. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful. That's really a great perspective for me as I enter into this union of marriage, but I never really thought about it from a business perspective too. And I'm not a parent, but from a parent perspective too. So I love that you kind of broadened that perspective that yes, marriage is a great way for sanctification, but there are other examples of it too.
Mm,
Parenting, being a business owner, that's
mhm.
all sanctification process, right? So
Yeah,
thank you for
yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah, and it's this like, how do we do this with God? You're familiar
Mhm.
as one of my CEOs about the with God framework, and we
Exactly.
can do a lot of things in the world. There are plenty of marketers out there in the world doing marketing things, but when we partner with God and we are trusting Him and His lead and His Spirit to direct us to the right conversations and the right opportunities and those types of things, like it just takes things to a whole nother level. And so yeah, I can't imagine not actively doing it with him, because it does make such a difference, right, when we do that. So I love that. The other thing I'm thinking that has probably evolved that maybe it wasn't by your choice, but maybe by default is marketing over the years. I mean, in 13 years,
Mm.
wouldn't you say there's been a lot of change to, I mean, like fundamentals may still be there, but there's a lot of change in like maybe the how-tos and the practicalities of it. Because back in 2011, I mean, were podcasts really a thing? I mean, of course, books were a thing, those have been out for forever, but like,
Yep.
were podcasts really even a thing? I don't know. I wasn't listening to podcasts back then,
Yeah.
and even like, people writing books. You thought book writing was for like the really smart people that worked at like universities and such, or like the pastors and like big upfront on stage leaders, not like people like you and me who just, have this
Yeah.
message that we're sharing and stuff like that. So let's kind of dive into this area of marketing, right? Like,
Absolutely.
because it is both a need and a struggle for Christian women business owners. So talk us
Yeah.
through a little bit of that about why is this a need and yet why is this also this thing that we're always coming back to? I hear people telling me all the time, like, Lisa, I need a marketing strategy. I need a new whatever. And of course, I always say if and until you get your time in the right place, it doesn't matter how many amazing marketing strategies you have. But
Yep.
let's be honest, yeah, marketing is how we then apply and are able to reach people. So yeah, how
Yeah.
is this both a need and how is it something that can be a struggle or a challenge for us as business owners?
Yeah, I'll definitely address the need and struggle, but I want to go back to the evolution of marketing that you talked about. Because when I first started out in marketing in corporate, this was in the 1990s, right?
Back in the
Um,
day, right? Yeah.
Back in the days, I'm aging myself, right? A lot of the aspects were not a part of marketing. So it was very much the traditional marketing. Like if you think billboards or ads in newspapers or ads in magazines or, ads on a radio, like things like that were some of networking, of course, was also a marketing strategy. But those were the traditional marketing avenues. But in the late 90s, it was starting to change. There was this thing called the internet,
Ooh, who
right?
knew?
With the super information, what did they used to call it? Information superhighway. This is
Yeah.
the buzz was, right? That's all we used to hear. So with that, the internet, it really shifted and changed things and the evolution of marketing really changed in that period to digital marketing.
Mm.
So things like email, right? Social media, blogs, all of these things started to come about in the early 2000s, late 1990s
Yeah.
as a way to reach people. And at the time, what marketers were really impressed by is the fact that it was so much cheaper, right? Didn't cost us anything to send emails versus a mailer, like direct mail to someone's house was going to cost you thousands of dollars. So the big buzz back then was like, wow, this digital marketing stuff is so much more affordable and gives more of the smaller business
Mm.
owner an opportunity to market successful using these avenues, these new digital avenues that came along. So I kind of wanted to go back to like the evolution of
Yeah.
marketing that you kind of alluded to and define traditional marketing, what it looked like back in the 1990s versus what we're living in now with the digital age. And that's also changing a lot with AI now. That's a whole nother level. That's just like introduction of the internet. The AI is taking it to a whole nother level when it comes to marketing and shifting the marketing industry that way. But here's the thing, traditional, digital, AI, whatever the future has, marketing is always about attracting awareness and action,
Okay.
right?
Attracting
So
awareness and action. Okay.
yeah. So the first step is really the awareness piece. People need to be aware of who you are,
Mm.
what you do, what your product or service is, and all these marketing activities are creating awareness.
Mm.
If you don't market, you're not creating awareness, right? If you're not doing any type of promotion, if you're not putting yourself out there, you're not generating that awareness for your business, your product or service, right? So whether you're in traditional marketing, digital marketing, or whatever the future holds, it's always about awareness as the first step. Then the second step is attraction. not only do you want to create awareness for your business, but how are you attracting the right people to your business, right? Your messaging has to be attractive. Your messaging has to be where someone's raising their hand and saying, "Oh, I want that product. I want that service." So attraction is the second piece of your marketing. And that is more about the messaging piece. Your messaging can
Mhm.
be what attracts people to your product or service, right? And I'm not going to go into the deeper side of attraction of marketing, right? Then the third piece is action. So now
Mhm.
they're aware and they're attracted. What is that action that you're telling them to do? Call a number, download
Mhm.
an item, get on a free call, whatever that action is. So no matter what type of marketing you may be doing, those three pieces are always the same thread. Awareness, attraction, and action is what you want
Mhm.
people to do or create when you're doing your marketing. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit about
Yeah.
that. So
And especially
there
for
is,
those of us with a digital, type business. So back in the day, you knew a business existed because you drove past it down Main Street, right? And you saw the sign or people were actually going there and where'd you get that? Or, who did
yep,
you talk to? And you could just physically walk in. But the beauty is we don't have to be in a physical location now. But the beauty is, I mean, like me sitting in my office, nobody's going to know that little old, Redeem Her Time exists if I'm
yeah,
not out there doing it. So I just want to, yeah,
yeah.
love that.
If you don't have a website, if you don't have a social media presence, if you're not networking online, how are people knowing about this digital business of
Yeah.
yours? So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely that's all a part of marketing. So you said about the need and also struggle, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we kind of talked about the need of marketing. It's important to market and promote because of that awareness, attraction, and action piece. So that's why marketing is needed and necessary. But people struggle with it for two main reasons, I feel. The first main reason is it feels overwhelming.
Mm.
There's 1,001 ways to market your business. We talked about traditional marketing in the beginning, billboards, ads in newspapers and magazines. Those still exist, right? So you
Sure.
could do traditional marketing, you could do networking, you could do social marketing. There's so many ways that you can market and promote your product or service that it becomes overwhelming. People are like, I don't know
Mm.
what to do. When
Mm.
you have so many different options in front of you, you don't know which way to go. So a lot of times I feel the struggle with marketing is what do I do?
Mm.
I don't know what to do. So
Sure.
people get stuck because they're overwhelmed with what to do. And I really find that if you just simplify your marketing,
Mm.
don't make it about all the things that you can
Yeah.
do to market your business, but what really resonates with you, the way that you're designed and your type of business. And let's talk about those marketing strategies. Let's create a plan around those key things and just focus on doing those things and not overwhelming yourself. And that could be 3 to 4 things that you do consistently. That's it. Don't worry about the 1,001 other things you could be doing,
Yeah. I
right?
love that reminder because sometimes we can be, stuck because we just don't even know where to start. Like you said,
Yep.
there's so many options, and it's almost like this is why I love shopping at Aldi because I don't need an entire aisle of cereal. Like, let's be
Exactly.
honest, like that is just way too like too many choices, right?
Yep.
But the hard thing is we hear all of these really successful people. I'm saying this in air quotes, and they may well be who are like, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and then
Mhm.
what I find is that we just keep layering more and more on. And then
Yeah,
we're overwhelmed trying to keep up with it all. And so it's not a matter of it's
exactly.
not starting, but it's like jumping into too much and too many things. And then we're spread so thin that yeah, that then we're
Yeah.
overwhelmed by all of that. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Over. And so simplify it, organize it, and then marketing doesn't need to be that overwhelming. So
Mm,
that's the first struggle. And also, I feel like a solution to overcome that struggle, right?
yes.
Of being overwhelmed. So the second struggle that I think people struggle with when it comes to marketing is they don't want to put themselves out there. So remember, we talked
Mm,
about awareness. A lot of times, awareness is taking you outside of your comfort zone, especially if you're introverted or you don't necessarily want to you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to put yourself out there. So marketing is really about putting yourself out there. It is about that visibility, like everyone's talking about, right? You have to be visible. You have to be seen. That's where awareness comes from. And some people shrink when they think about that, or shrink or
mm.
shriek,
Shrink or shriek.
because they don't like that, right? They don't want to be out there. They don't want to be visible. They don't want to be noticed. They don't want to be seen, but is needed and necessary necessary in order to market and promote your product or service. So sometimes I think that that particular struggle, the solution for that struggle is a lot of inner work,
Mm,
building up your confidence, building up the fact that you have authority in this area, that your product or service is a solution. So really focusing on those things and less of like, I don't
mm,
really want to be seen. I don't want people to be aware of me,
yeah.
but taking it more off of you, but and off of what the product and solution is for that person. So I think that is more of like a mindset,
Mhm.
confidence, stepping into your authority, a lot of that kind of work. So that's another struggle that people have.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why I truly believe it's not just about the strategy, because again, you can have this amazing strategy and even have a right
Mm.
approach to time. But if and
Yeah.
until you work on that, what I call CEO belief, your belief in the fact that God has uniquely called me and equipped me. So why me is the first question we
Yep.
answer. The next one is like, why her or him, right? Whoever
Yep.
it is that you're called to serve, and why this, whatever that product or service
Exactly.
is. If we don't spend
Exactly.
time to build our belief in those areas, yeah, our marketing is going to fall flat and nobody's going to hear us no matter how loud we think we're being and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
feels like, to put your words into it, a lot of us are running a busyness. We're
Yeah.
running around, we're trying to be on all the maybe not the billboards like physical ones, but all the, social billboards that we now have out there. We're trying to do all of these things. Like, is that because the world out there is telling us like I don't know what are the lies that they're telling us that we need to do more, that we need to be in all the places, that like one is, I don't know, like what do you feel like are some of the things that maybe somebody's hearing right now that's kind of the advice they're
Yeah.
being given that's really not going the right direction?
Yeah, I think a lot of times led by the wrong thing,
Mm,
right? So a lot of times we may be coach led, like we may
mm,
be, and not saying that there's anything wrong with coaches. I
sure.
have coaches. Liz is one of my coaches.
Yeah.
So coaches are amazing, needed, and necessary. But sometimes we're not leaning into our inner guidance and we're listening to the coach instead, when our inner
Mm,
guidance may be saying, well, maybe you should adjust this, or maybe you should do this. So being strictly coach led or strictly expert led or
mm,
strictly guru led sometimes can lead to the overwhelm or even lead
yeah.
to the conflict that you're having inside. So I think that is probably one of the biggest, and also comparison. So if you're
Mm,
not being led by an
yeah.
expert coach or guru, you're also comparing yourself with a colleague and what she's doing and how she did it to build her business and start saying, well, maybe I should be doing that, right? So I think that is a struggle. And what we deal with a lot in that marketing space is who we're being led by and also who we're comparing ourselves to.
Yes.
The solution to that, because I always love to bring up the struggle, and then the solution is being spirit led.
Mm,
So when you're being spirit led, I believe if you have a book, a business, or a brand that God has given you the idea, He has also given you the success blueprint. It's
mm,
already inside of you. You just need to tap into it by going inward instead of outward. So,
mm,
really sitting down with the Holy Spirit, really getting guidance for your marketing helps you to be spirit led instead of
mm,
expert led, coach led, guru led. And you can use a combination of that. But the most important and primary thing in the scripture tells us that the Holy Spirit is here to guide us, instruct us, comfort us. In the case of business too, it doesn't
mm,
limit it to not being that for business. So the core thing that should be guiding us and leading us is the Holy Spirit. And
yeah.
that's what I find is our secret sauce as believers in business, as
Mm.
Christians, as women of faith. But a lot of us don't even realize it,
Yeah,
that
I
we
love
don't,
this.
and we're not even using it,
Yeah,
right?
like we have
To our
access to the God of the universe, hello, who knows
hello.
everything and,
Yep.
already has all the resources at his disposal. And yet we're running around in circles like the world that doesn't know him is seeking after these things. I often go
Yes.
to Matthew 6 when Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount is talking about, that people are chasing after what am I going to eat? What am I going to drink? What am I going to wear? I think in business, it's who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? And what's their response going to be? Like those are the things we're chasing after, like people who don't know God. And what does he tell us in
Yeah.
6:33? He says,
Mhm.
seek me first and my way of
Exactly.
doing things. And then all
Yeah.
these things will be added to you as well. I already know what you need.
Absolutely.
And when you seek me
Exactly.
first, I'm gonna show you, right, that. And so I love that.
Mhm.
One of the things that I say, and you hear me say this, that when I'm coaching my clients, I always say, if I'm giving some input or something like that, I will always end with, but you're the CEO, you're the Christ empowered operator, not just the chief executive officer. the Christ empowered operator. What do you think?
Yeah,
Because I love how you
exactly.
pointed out, just because a coach, no matter how amazing they are, or even how faith-led they are, that
Yep.
should not be the primary voice that we are going off of. It needs to be the spirit. So I love this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that acronym. I have to add that was a shift in acronym for me, Christ Empowered Operator. And it's almost like, I don't want to say a secret, but I put CEO of Nadine Mullings Marketing Agency. And in my mind, I
Yeah.
know what that CEO means, but
Right.
in other people's minds, it's Chief Executive Officer. So I just love being able to use that and place that and use that as my title, knowing what it means to me being a Christ empowered operator of my business. So
Yeah.
yeah, that acronym really shifted things for me. So I appreciate
Yeah. Yeah.
you coming up with that with the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit.
It's just, yeah, I love it. And so you're welcome to tell people what that's what it means and share it out because it's not a me thing. That was a spirit thing. And, obviously it's obvious, right? Why, as you told us through your evolution of things, why combining faith and business matters so much to you. So there's this element of like, we don't just sit on the couch and pray all day long. There is this element. In fact, we had this conversation in our book club this morning that you were on, that we can dream with God, but if we never get off the couch and actually start implementing, right, we're being just as disobedient as if we hadn't dreamed with Him at all. So I
Yep.
know that you talk about like, okay, if we have a book, a business, or a brand, how
Mhm.
do we start marketing this? And you've coined this, I love it, and I'm sure this acronym stands for something, the
Yeah.
best marketing system to be able to
Yep.
get this message out there. So like walk
Yeah.
us through like how do we start building out the best marketing system so that we can promote our book, business, or brand and do it
Yeah.
in the spirit-led way such that God is bringing it to the people that are supposed to hear it,
Yeah, I love it. Well, first of all, I have to recognize how amazing God is with acronyms, right?
right?
He gives us all our personal acronyms for our businesses. And I see that time and time again with so many people. So I love the acronyms. I think it's like a spiritual thing. But yeah, God dropped the word best in my spirit actually several times. So I use best in all different ways. But for the purpose of today, it's a best marketing system. Like, how do you
Mhm.
create a system? And Lisa talks all the time about the importance of systems in your business. You also need a marketing system. What is that system going to look like for you? And BEST is a type of marketing system for your business, your book, or your brand. So if you don't have a business but you have a book, you can use it. If you don't have a business but you have a brand, you're working on a particular brand, you can use it. And if you have a business, you can use it. So the B for the best marketing system is all about blogging. And I will say all of this is like digital marketing stuff. Because remember, we
Okay.
talked about the evolution of marketing. None
Mhm.
of this is traditional stuff. This is all of the newer digital age marketing methods. So the first marketing method for this system is having a blog. So
Mhm.
having a blog on your website, if you have a website and you have a blog on there, but blogging first was known as like written blogs. It was actually coined by Weblog. So it was
Oh.
called a weblog, and then they combined it and called it a blog. And the history of blogging was more of like diaries for people that they used to put online back in the days. And people would read these blogs, and it really took off. Now you can use it for your business, not just for words like a written blog. You can have videos, you
Mhm.
can have pictures, and I love the way that each one of these letters in the acronym you can make your own, right? So I'm
Yes.
not
Yeah.
telling you exactly how to do it, just make it your own. And if you feel led, right? If you don't feel led to do a blog, then ignore that part of the acronym, right? So if you feel led, this is a great part of your marketing system. But the blog is really having a house online for your content, a
Mhm.
place where people can read your content, view your content, watch your content that you own. It's not placed on a platform like social
Mhm.
media. It is on your actual website. That is a great way to get leads to your website. It's a great way to get traffic to your website. Whenever I look at the stats of my website, most things are coming from a blog post,
Mhm.
right? They're
Mhm.
coming to my website because of a blog post that I posted somewhere. So it really is an excellent way to get that exposure and awareness is the B blogging. And again, you can customize the B however you want. Maybe you love videos, so you embed your YouTube videos or your Facebook videos on your blog. Maybe you love images. Your business is more of a visual business, so you have lots of pictures on your blog. Or maybe you're a prolific writer and the words that you write and the articles that you write are so powerful. You need to be housing all of this information on your website. So that B in the best marketing system is all about your blog.
Love it. Okay. What's the E for?
Let's move to the E. So the E is more about communication. Once you do have those leads, how are you communicating with these individuals? And that is email marketing. So
Mm.
email marketing is not dead. Like we always hear things are dead. I've heard email marketing's dead. Nobody reads email anymore. Not true. You probably opened your inbox today and read tons of emails. Yes, email can be inundated. Yes, there can be a lot of it, but it's still the most important digital communication that you have in order to nurture those leads, communicate with those leads. So, email marketing is very important and key. And one of the steps in the best marketing system is to practice email marketing in an effort to nurture, build relationships with the people that have opted in to be a lead on your email list. So, email marketing. And in fact, email marketing actually converts at a higher rate. If you're selling a product or service, you're more than likely going to be able to sell it on email versus social media. So email is a better ROTI,
Yep.
return on your time investment. Email marketing would be the thing to pick and choose as far as your marketing system. So the E is all about email marketing. The S is social media. So I did mention social media. And again, however you feel led. If S
Right.
is not a part of your marketing system, remove it, and then you have the BET system instead of the best, right? Make it your own, whatever acronym God puts in your spirit. So social media, what I love about it, number one, it's free, and number two, it's a great way to create awareness, right? So creating that awareness through a free platform, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, find a primary platform that you love the most and really engage on that particular platform. But put social media as a part of that strategy because of the awareness that you can create. Like I mentioned with my blog, a lot of times with the blogging part of it, I put my social media posts on social and I put my blog posts on social media, and then people click on it from social media and it goes over to my website. So that's why social media is a good part of the system because it actually helps people to lead them into your blog and to your website. So the S is all about social media.
Yeah, yeah, and there is this love-hate relationship thing with social media. So I think, if we are using it, we have to be wise and
Yeah.
mindful of how we're using it. In fact, this episode is coming out when we are still in the midst of our digital fast. And
Yeah.
what I've said from day one of this digital fast is we are not saying that you're wrong if you're on social or you're wrong if you have a phone in your hand at some point in the day or things like that, because these are tools, right? These are things
Yep.
that can help, like you said, lead people to these other places where they can get more connected with us and, and move to action and things like that. But it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's coming at it with that right purpose and watching how our time is being invested in them and what the roadie is, like you said. So I love that. Okay, so we've got blog, email, social media. What's the T?
So before I get to the
Oh,
T, I do want to mention something about social media because I felt led. This is before the whole digital fast that you're on right now. Felt led to just remove social media from my phone. It was a conversation with God one morning, and He was like, "Remove Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn from your phone." And I said, "What? Wait, what?
did I
Really?"
hear you
And
right? Are
so
you sure?
yeah, it's like, yeah, I want you to remove it from your phone. So I'm still in the midst of it myself right now. Everyone that's watching, I'm still that's in the midst of the Lent digital fast. I'm in the midst of the fast right now, and yeah, it's been very interesting because I feel I've used it as a crutch, right?
Mm,
Any type of little space I have, I'll just pick up my phone and just start scrolling, scrolling,
yeah,
scrolling.
yeah.
So now any type of space I have, I'm like, what do I do
What do
with
I
it? I
do?
can't pick up my phone and just scroll, scroll, scroll. So I kind of like sit and listen, see if God is telling me anything. So this started for me on the 5th of this month as we record, February 5th. And so by the end of February, it's going to be interesting whether I continue,
Yes, right.
and also to see what the difference has been after taking it off
Mm.
of my phone. So the only way that I'm able to go on social media is on my computer if I go on, and I type in the websites and decide to go on.
Which
And
is
it's a
not as much
different,
fun. I mean, it's not as like
it's
addicting.
not.
You're not like, oh, I can't wait to go sit in front of my desktop so I can, see all the things that are on there. You're like, I could find something else to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. It's a completely different experience. When I log on Facebook on my computer or LinkedIn or Instagram, I'm on there for less than 5 minutes. It's like I don't have
Mm.
the desire to scroll
Yeah.
through and see what people are saying. So that was eye-opening to me to see that the environment in which the platform is being used, phone
Mm.
versus computer, can change your experience of that platform. So that has been eye-opening so far as I'm in the midst of my digital fast.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You're just a step ahead of us. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're ready for tea.
Now we're ready
I'm
for
like
tea.
dying. I got a tea written on my notes and I have
Yes,
nothing
yes,
next to
yes,
it.
yes.
I
I
gotta
love it.
know.
I love it. So the T is actually text message marketing.
Hmm.
And I have to say, Lisa is amazing at this. Being involved in her programs and connecting with her even before this, she uses this very well. But it's rare that people do. Most people don't even realize that it's a great way to communicate, a great way to build relationship, a great way to be in touch with prospects and clients is text messaging. So the traditional text messaging, as we know, is on our telephone, and you have a text messaging app, and you can text people that way through texting. But I also expanded it to digital, not digital, direct messages. So
Mm.
if you think about Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, you have the ability to text message people in the direct part of those platforms. I also view that as text messaging.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it mainly is one-to-one communication, right? And there's something powerful and personal about one-to-one communication. When
Mm.
people are realizing, hey, this isn't just a broad message for the whole social media or for your whole email list. This is actually a personalized message for
Mm.
me that someone thought about me for. You see even higher conversions. And I know, Lisa, you talk about this all the time. The open rate for text messages are super high too, especially text messages on your phone. That's at 90 something percent
Yeah.
versus emails much lower, social media people seeing it's much lower. So it really is a key avenue to reach people and know that they've read your message, right? And they've seen it. But you do have to be wise in how you use it because
Mm.
people don't want to be promoted to on text message, right? So you just have to be very strategic in the way that you approach using text messages, whether it's DMs on social media or whether it's text messages on your telephone. So the T is all about text message marketing.
Yeah, I love that. And I've been playing with a new way of doing that because, like, for example, the Redeemer Time community, I intentionally built off of a social platform because it gets really busy and distracting over there. And we're a member of
Mm.
like, 382 Facebook groups that we never remember, or we have great intentions to go visit, but then we get lost in scroll hole on the way. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, so one of the things I've been doing is I understand that the platform I built mine on is probably not someplace that women are like naturally going to on a regular
Hmm.
basis. So if
Hmm.
they get a text from me once or twice a week, that's kind of like
Yep.
drawing them to something of value that's there. They see it and they respond, right, in a
Yep.
whole different way than just, well, I didn't go into the app, so therefore I haven't seen, anything on
Exactly.
there.
It
So,
it really works. I can give you an example just today. Someone texted me a link to something that I needed to order. I just clicked on the link in the text message and went to go order that particular thing. It was so super easy.
like
Or
easy
if you have an
button.
event,
Yeah.
right? And someone send something to send a text message about the event with a link in the text message, and bam, they sign up right away. So text messaging is powerful. And I think people are actually leaning more into it recently in the last couple of years. I've been talking about the best marketing system for many years. And initially when I was talking about text messaging, very few people
Yes.
were on it, but I feel more and more people have really leaned into it. And even like your doctor's office, or
Mhm.
more than
Mhm.
likely get appointment reminders as a text message. So various industries and various ways people are embracing text message marketing.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. So it kind of goes without saying. I mean, I feel like we kind of keep saying this, but I wanted to kind of tie this to our time and our roadie, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, we can throw spaghetti at the wall and hope that something sticks. We can be on all the platforms and, and think that that's what it takes. But really, the things that you've walked us through about really being intentional with where
Mhm.
we are investing time and
Yep.
sometimes money, because some of these things are free, but some of them do cost us in money or it costs us in time. Like, so
Yep.
how does this affect our time, especially when we think about the time we're spending on growing our business, marketing our business, and how does this affect our roadie, right? The return on
Yeah.
that time invested.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you have a system in any parts of your
Mm.
business, you're more effective, you're more efficient. If there's automation involved in it,
Yeah.
for example, if you're posting manually on social media and for social media you're using an automation scheduler, it saves you time, right? And it can save you money. It really is important to set up systems in every aspect of your business. So for marketing, you want the same thing. You want a system in place that's going to save you time, save your effort, save you money, save your energy. All of that
Yeah.
is why having a system, I know we talked about the best marketing system, whatever your marketing system may be, in place is important. And it is a great return on time investment is because of energy, effectiveness, efficientness, all of the above when you
Mm.
have an actual system in place. I always like to say people are practicing RAM, right? I've heard of it before as random acts of marketing. I've said this many times before.
Oh, I like
So
that.
if you're
Okay.
practicing random acts of marketing, or RAM, as I like to call it, then you're not being efficient, effective, and your energy is all over the place and your time is being wasted. So stop ramming and create a system,
Yeah. And you're
right?
going to have random results. I mean, we talk about that all the time. If I'm
Yes,
doing random things at random
exactly.
times and random places, I'm going to have random results. And so if that's really what you want, which I don't know anyone listening who wants that, yeah,
No,
we're not going to be ramming anymore. I love that.
no.
Another acronym that we're going to like hang on to here. So,
Yeah, we're just
okay.
acronym queens over here.
I know, right? You're good at acronyms. I love that. It helps us remember things. Let's be honest. There is a lot of
Exactly.
information coming into our head. And if I have something to hang it on, I will remember blog,
Exactly.
email, hold on, social, and text. I didn't even have to look at my notes. I've already got it. See?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
so I'm
exactly.
thinking of that woman who's listening right now. She is a business owner, okay? And she's either feeling overwhelmed because it just feels like too much, so many options, whatever, or she's taken on too many options,
Hmm.
or she's kind of in that place of just like that fear insecurity place. I know they're kind of two different things. So maybe you want
Hmm.
to say one thing to each of those people, or maybe there's kind of one thing to pull them together. But like, what would be that one piece of encouragement that you would give to that woman listening today who is struggling, but knows there's a need for marketing and really wants to see her time invested well to increase her roadie, so that she can
Yeah.
really grow her business.
So that one thing is going to be a plug. So it's going to be a plug for my free download because it's the
Perfect.
perfect thing for both things, right? So the free download that I'm offering to your audience is two powerful ways to market your business, book, or brand. And the two powerful ways actually talk about the strategic, so what we talked about strategy wise, and also the spirit. So when
Hmm.
you combine strategy and spirit, so the spirit is more of that mindset work, the belief, all those things that we talked about. That's the spirit part of things.
Hmm.
And then the strategy is putting those systems in place, understanding what your audience needs to, all those strategy pieces. So I would advise that woman that's struggling with marketing on the strategy side or on the mindset side to go ahead and click on that download because it really helps you with both pieces. It's
Hmm.
the
Perfect.
strategy and it's the spirit led. So
Yeah.
it feels like a
I
shameless
set you
plug.
up and I didn't even know it.
You did. There we go. Thank you, Holy Spirit. But that would be a solution for them to go ahead and get that download.
Yeah, I love that. And it's going to take an intention, right? And that's what I always say around here. We can have a great conversation. We can talk about all these things. You can have us in your earbuds while you're
Yep.
driving, while you're mopping the floors, or maybe you're sitting down taking notes in your CEO journal. But if it's just information and it stays in your head, it's not really of any
Mm.
value, right? So here's where we want to get into the implementation piece. So yes, we will make sure to link in the show notes Nadine's gift to you so that way you can
Yep.
grab that resource. And you guys know I always invite you into the Redeem Her Time community. And I don't meet a lot of podcast hosts that offer this type of thing where we have like, I call it the after party, where we
Mm.
keep the conversation going. It's much
Yeah.
more like, well, I just said what I need to say. I hope you grab my download because if not, you're on your own type thing. But I feel like sometimes there are questions, sometimes there are challenges, sometimes there are like, we just need someone to come alongside us and encourage us or help us or things like
Hmm.
that. And so not only am I inviting Nadine, who's already a member of the Redeem Her Time community, but I'm inviting
Yep.
all of our listeners. Come into the community. You can find us at redeemhertime.com/community. You're going to find a group of like-hearted Christian women business owners who believe that they've been called into business by God. It's for a bigger purpose, than just
Hmm.
us. And we're wanting to be faithful with the time He's given us, the business He's given us, the season of life He's given us, and the things that it holds, so that, right, we are building His kingdom. And one day we'll hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Like you did something, you invested what I gave you, and you did it for
Absolutely.
my glory. And that's what this is all about. So come into the community, come join the conversation. In fact, I'm thinking through, I always have some kind of implementation question. I think it's going to be like, of the B.E.S.T acronym, which of these are you going to focus on next, either starting or refining? Because it may be that you already have a blog
Mm,
or email or social or texting, but you're like, you want really want to go in and refine that area. So instead of trying to hit
mhm,
all four at once, because we know how that goes, like, I'm
mhm.
going to have you choose one. And then
Yep.
Nadine will be there as a great resource. If you've got some specific questions or things like that, like, come in and ask those things, and she can help point you in the right direction and share, some of her resources and things like that as well. So yeah. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Nadine. I really appreciate you and just the friendship we have and also what you're doing in business and all of that. And I love the spirit-led wisdom that God has given you and how you're very much listening and encouraging others to listen to him, as well. So yeah. So as we head into the season, I always love ending with this question, and it can be what you shared in the beginning, or maybe it's something different. But when you think about where you're at in your life or business right now, like, what is it time for? And what's your roadie why? Like, why do you want to make time for this? And then what difference will that make when that does have a good result?
Yeah. I think it's time for balance for me. I kind of
Mhm.
alluded to the fact that I'm doing a lot more on the personal side with the
Mhm.
upcoming wedding. And for years, I was just so focused on business, 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 right? So I think I'm in a season of balance and God
Yeah.
really teaching me personal and business. Like how I talked about combining faith and business. Now he's like personal and business and how you balance both and you're successful in it, right? It's not overwhelming, the harmony of having a good business and having a great personal life too. So I think that's kind of the season that I'm in and the return on investment for the time that I'm putting in this season.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because it's like we talk about life and business, and yet we can't really separate the two because they are so
Hmm.
integrated in the way that I do the wheel inside the Redeem Her Time community and the planner and in the CEO program is faith is at the center. It is the
Yes.
hub, right, that all of these other pieces come from. And so we can't separate them. And so that is why we have to pay attention to what's balanced and what's
Yeah.
out of balance and how can I get back in alignment. So
Yeah.
thank you for
And I
challenging
just
us, encouraging us, blessing us today. Anything else you want to share
yeah,
before
and
we go?
yeah, I just want to use the opportunity to thank you. I mean, for those who are listening, if you just listen to her on a weekly basis on the podcast, I encourage you to go deeper. Alyssa, her heart for her clients, the heart that she has for the work that she does, the resources that she provides, the Redeem Her Time Planner has been a game changer for me this year. And in every page, I see how she works so hard, right? She works so hard to make sure we have the resources and tools that we need to redeem her time. And it hasn't only just been on the business side of things, like some of the things that she teaches us has really impacted me personally and how I manage things. So it's so much bigger than just thinking you're going, like I thought I was just coming in to redeem my time business wise, but it's a bigger thing than that. It's the personal side of life, how you manage all the pieces of your life. And like she mentioned, keeping faith at the center of it all. I love the illustration and what she has in the Redeem Her Time Planner to remind us of the importance of keeping faith at the center. It's not a piece of the pie, it's the
Yeah.
center of the pie. So I just want to use this opportunity to kind of just give you your flowers while I have the
Mhm.
opportunity to use it on your platform for the amazing work that you're doing and how you're helping, helping all the women out there redeem her time and so much more than just redeem her
Yeah.
time, really grow her faith, so much bigger than that. And I encourage any of the listeners that may be on the fence of, hey, should I work with Lissa or should I look at her programs? I just want to take this opportunity. And this was not Lissa's prompting
Not
at
not
all.
prompted at
This
all.
is me doing it on my own. I encourage you to dig a little bit deeper. If you're just listening to the podcast episodes, it's well worth it in
Yeah.
being in her inner circle and being in her wisdom, speaking from
Uh,
someone who's in it.
yeah. Well, thank you. That really means a lot to me. And this whole thing has been spirit led. It was in the pew that God dropped Redeem Her Time right there in the back of a bulletin. And I didn't know exactly what that meant and what it was going to look like. And here we are several years later, and he just keeps
Mhm.
growing it and giving me more ideas and opportunities and things like that. So yeah, it's been a really fun ride, and I love getting to share it with women like you. So thank you for taking the time to share that. And yeah, I'll make sure I link to the planner down in the show notes. So that's a great place to start because it's not just like what you're going to pick up at Target. It comes with a personal coach. It comes with a new perspective on time, and it's really going to help you like start thinking about why does my time and my roadie matter, And then for those of
Mhm.
you that have a business that you want to see growing and impacting income, yeah, apply to work with me and let's have a conversation and see if this would help you like it's helping Nadine as well. So, all right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much. You've blessed me, and I know this is going to be a blessing to many. So, right now, I want you guys, before you click, end here, who is the business bestie that needs to hear this conversation? I don't know anybody in business who doesn't need to market or go back to some of her marketing strategies. So, who needs a best marketing strategy that you can send this to right now? See who the spirit drops in your spirit and send her the link right now so she can listen and get blessed by this as well. So, all right. Thanks so much, you guys. We'll look forward to seeing you soon in the community.